Hello, my friends. Welcome to my home studio in the beautiful Catskill Mountains in upstate New York. I am John Morelli. I hope you know that by now. I'm going to talk about a fragrance tonight that I picked up a little over a week ago, and I've been wearing it almost every day at some point, usually in the evening since, which is Zaharoff Signature Leather Tabac. I want to talk about it. So I loved Signature Tabac from Zaharoff, and I thought this would be kind of a flanker to that. I thought it'd be Signature Tabac with some leather elements added. Totally wrong, which ended up being really positive. I was surprised. This is a completely different fragrance, not a flanker at all. Doesn't smell anything like it at all. This is really stunning. My favorite tobacco leather fragrance of all time, for those of you who watch me, know that it's John Varvatos' Dark Rebel. Even though the longevity's not there, I just love the scent profile. I have a backup bottle. I'll just reapply. I don't care. However, that has now changed. My favorite leather and tobacco leather fragrance now is Zaharoff Signature Leather Tabac. It is outstanding. Scent profile on this. Top notes: rosemary, sage, black pepper, star anise, plum. Heart notes: birch tar, cumin seeds, rose, myrrh, tobacco. Dry down: suede, leather, honey, oud, praline, frankincense. This is just such an interesting fragrance. It's almost gourmand. It really is, even though it's leather. It's fascinating. Leather and tobacco. The leather is almost like a leather was melted down into a cream. It's like a creamy leather, which is interesting to say. I enjoy this. It's a little naughty, it's a little naughty of a fragrance. Like, it kind of brings me back to, if you've ever been in your life to like a nightclub that had a leather night, which is like kind of a fetish night. You get kind of that, almost like that leather feel, but this again is a bit more creamy than that, but this doesn't smell like a leather jacket or a couch or leather seats to a car. It doesn't smell like anything like that. It's a very, very unique leather. And so, like I said, it almost reminds me of like, a fetish night or leather night at a club back in the day. So something like that, but more, this is, I could see this being worn on a date night. Again, it's a little naughty, but I think it'd be worn on a date night. So let's talk about when would it be worn? It would be worn definitely colder weather fragrance. I would say maybe in warmer weather, but at night when it gets a little cool outside. I think that this is not, in my opinion, going to be something you're going to wear when it's daytime and warm. So it's not a spring, summer fragrance. This is more fall, winter, and again, colder nights, maybe a date night. Who would wear this, or who could wear this? I think anybody. If you are not a leather fan, this is leather forward, although the suede and the leather notes are on the dry down, the base, right? They are shining through throughout the fragrance, throughout the entire fragrance. This is not a linear fragrance by any stretch, by the way. It changes quite a bit as it goes along. Like the dry down is just this, the praline, the frankincense is just this very subtle creaminess on the dry down. It's not a subtle fragrance, but the dry down becomes very subtle. This lasts about 10, 12 hours on me. And when I wake up in the morning, I have that, I have that kind of very subtle, creamy, praline, honey, leathery frankincense dry down. But the fragrance in the beginning is very loud. So when you spray it on, it can fill a room. Be careful. I would say, just a couple sprays, 2, 3 sprays, 4, maybe at the most, depending. I do 4 sprays. I don't care what the 5 sprays. I like to be a bit loud. It doesn't stay loud forever though, but it will fill a room, and you can go nose blind to this. Like the other night I wore it in the studio, right? So in my studio, and I had it on, and I had worn it a lot, and I think that's part of it. And all of a sudden, it's easy. I don't smell it anymore. Smell in the back of my hand, smell my wrist. I don't smell it anymore. I left the room. I was done that night. I left the studio, went to bed, woke up, smelled my hand. I did smell the dry down on my hand. And when I came back up into the studio that day, my studio smelled of Signature Leather Tabac. So it's there. You may go nose blind to it, anosmic to it, but it's there. And if you don't like leather fragrances, and I do know people like that who say, I just don't like leather fragrances. If you don't like leather fragrances, I would sample this first. It's not a typical leather. You may enjoy this anyway because, like I said, it's a creamy sort of leather. So you may enjoy this, but I would sample it because it is very leather forward, even though, like I said, suede and leather notes are, and the base notes, they come through the entire time. But again, this is not linear. This changes when when it first opens up. It does have some of that, you get that black pepper. It's a bit spicy. The plum, the sage, sure. It's a little green, tiny, not a lot. Tiny bit green in the beginning, which I think is interesting. And the rose comes through, but the tobacco, especially the leather, I should say, the leather is really there the entire time. And the tobacco might be a bit of a greener tobacco, I'm thinking, because there's a tiny bit of greenness, but not a lot. But the suede and the leather is always there, always kind of touching you a little bit. But as it dries, I mean, you get that myrrh, which is kind of an incense sort of feel. And then, of course, the bottom notes, the suede, the leather, the honey. This is just an incredible fragrance. So again, test it. It comes in 2 sizes. Comes in 2 ounce, comes in 4 ounce. But I do think you can get a sample of it. But the 2 ounces is $155. The 4 ounce, is $195. Both totally worth it because this is an absolutely stunning fragrance. It is like I said, and this was hard. Nothing has knocked Dark Rebel off its pedestal for me in all my years since that's been released. This has finally done it. It is by far, and I can't imagine anything knocking this off. This is by far my favorite leather tobacco fragrance. Okay, so amazing job on this fragrance. This may be, this fragrance right here, the Second Soul, are like my favorite releases from Zaharoff right now. I love all the releases. It's my favorite house. I think everyone knows that, but I think those 2 right now are just something I'm kind of addicted to at this point. So. Again, I want to thank everybody very much for listening. And again, that was Zaharoff Signature Leather Tabac. Check it out, especially if you like leather fragrances. It's unisex. I don't think it leans masculine or feminine. I do believe it's unisex, a little naughty, but check it out. Grab a sample. Zaharoff.com. Thank you. We out.